alim letrufah, eternally yours, letter 306. God's help, Tuesday, the 17th day in the numbering of the children of Israel, 5600 breasted. Warm greetings to my dear beloved son, may he live along with all his family life, peace, and all good. Omaaiiinnn. I received your letter. This is the day which God has made possible. My friend of the son-in-law of Reuben, came and he informed me that thank God he, your son, perspired sweat, good perspiration for life and well-being. This is in the Quran, volume 2, lesson 6. Good perspiration. Your son sweat, your son perspired, good perspiration for life and well-being. For life and well-being. May God finish for you and may he speedily recover his strength. Amen, may it be his will. He also told me about the miraculous salvation of your young son, Michal, may he live, and about the seed which they removed from his ear. The last miracle is greater than the first. And the first one of your elder's son recovery. This last miracle is greater than the first one of your elder son's recovery. How great are God's kindnesses and wonders. He has not dealt with us as our sins would have dictated. So fortify yourself determinedly from now on, my dear son, to adhere to the words of our master, teacher, and rebbe of blessed memory, to look all the time at the displays of relief and salvation, to look all the time at the displays of relief and salvation, and to encourage yourself with every single good point that you grab each day, as I discussed with you on the verse, and in his destruction there will be salvation from them. And in his destruction there will be salvation from them. Study them over and over, for there is no way now to skip over Gehenna, hell, which is this world, as the Rebbe said explicitly, except through his holy advice, which is deep, direct, and extremely simple, and which is meant for every person, no matter who he is, in every place, at every time, and on every single level. And which is meant for every person, no matter who he is, in every place, at every time, and on every single level. Be strong, trust in God, that he will not abandon you, because everything is for your eternal good. I am presently preparing myself to travel to Oman. Through God's kindness, in another hour or two, I hope to God I will set off. It appears that I will be forced to spend Shabbos in Taplik, and with God's kindness I will get to Oman on Monday or Tuesday. Salvation is in God's hands. The words of your father, waiting for salvation, lesson of Breslov, letter 307. With God's help, Thursday, B'chikos, B'chi, Koisai, 5600, Breslov. Greetings to my dear beloved son, the learned, bezH, may he live. Thank God I arrived home safely yesterday after midday, and thank God all is well. Your great desire to know how I am, and in particular to know about my travel from home from Uman, but before Shavuos, has impelled me to write you now. Before praying, even though I do not know yet with whom to send the letter, the time for the morning prayers has arrived, so I cannot write much. Last Sunday in Uman, the time for the morning prayers has arrived, so I cannot write much. Last Sunday in Uman, I received your lovely letter from last Thursday. We drank a little in honor of your son's bris milah celebration, and we blessed him with a mazel tov. I also mentioned this at the Rebbe's holy gravesite, among my other unspeakably numerous, unspeakably numerous needs. May God allow you to bring him up to torah, to chuppah, and to good deeds. And may he have a good, long life, amen. The words of your father waiting to see you again in great joy on the approaching holiest festival of Shavuos, through his kindness. Greetings to all our comrades with great love, in particular to the grandson of our master teacher and rebbe of holy saints of memory, the distinguished nachman. May he live along with all the honored members of his household. Tell him that I remember him and mention him very carefully in my prayers, a great deal at all times, and especially at the holy gravesite. May he also remember himself, i.e., who he is and where he is, as in, I am the lightest creature in the sea. May God illumine our eyes, so that he may find a way to get together with us, so that he may have good forever and for all eternity. Nothing the same. Letter 308, publisher's note that Nothing set out on his journey to Brody and Lemberg to print impressive works that short after Shavuos. The reader can notice this from the different cities from which Nothing addressed his correspondence, and returned directly to Uman in time for Shoshana 5601. Many times Nothing would begin a letter and date it, then continue the letter later. Many times Nothing would begin a letter and date it, then continue the letter later. Thanks to God, Monday, Chukas, 5600. Thanks to God, Monday, Chukas, 5600. Greetings to my dear beloved son, the learned Rebbe Yitzchak. May he live. I received a letter from you again here in Hilichnitz. Pilitchinitz. Yesterday evening, I had already sent you a letter last Friday. From Berditchev through the post. At the moment, I am ready to travel to Berditchev, where I will try to hire a carriage for my trip to Ravil. May God grant me a safe journey. I read your letter carefully, and I know your cry already. I do not know how to respond though. You have already heard a great deal about how a person can direct his thoughts as he wishes, even though they may still keep returning to assail a person with evil thoughts and all sorts of confusing and distracting ideas. As the rabbis of blessed memory said, a confused heart and a yoke of iron refers to one's thoughts. Nonetheless, a person always has free will. A confused heart and a yoke of iron refers to one's thoughts. Nonetheless, a person always has free will. For just as they have the power to keep on attacking, even though the person has fled from many times, similarly, and even to a greater degree, a person's inner good can always return and overcome them. The measure of good is greater, and it is all through the simple, profound advice of the flowing stream, the source of wisdom. Above all else, a person must lift his eyes up to heaven every time and cry out from the depth of his heart. Even beyond this, though, one must prevail to be happy, using all the tactics. Even beyond this, though, one must prevail to be happy, using all the tactics and advice that I have so often talked about. Thank God you have something to be happy about, and that you uplift me all the time with your letters and with your efforts on behalf of my business. Thank God. The help, quote-unquote, business. Thank God, the help that you give me in this work is truly significant, and acts of kindness, even as seforim, are even greater than charity. What is more, thank God you were here this past Holy Shavuos, and you were counted among those who truly trust in His name and who cry out in joy from a broken heart. Our ancestors trusted in you, they trusted in you, and you saved them. They cried out to you, and were delivered. I do not have time to go on right now. You can understand for yourself how busy I am. I returned here to Bishop on Monday. Today, Wednesday, I hired a carriage, thank God, to Ravil, and in another few hours, which will be 3 or 4 hours before nightfall, I will set out from here, God willing. May God in His compassion grant me a safe journey. It appears that I will spend Shabbos somewhere on the way, and God willing, 2 or 3 days after Shabbos, I will be there in Ravil. With God's help. Out of my enormous love for you and your desire for my words, I wrote you some words of truth on the other side of the page in the aforementioned town. It is impossible to write any more than this right now. Really, fortify yourself and be strong. Really fortify yourself and be strong, my dear son. Really fortify yourself and be strong, my dear son. Trust God. He will not abandon you. If you saw 1,000th of what I see to be taking place in the world now, you would be very happy indeed with your lot. Shneinu, how fortunate we are that we merit to know about the point of truth. I have to stop midstream, although there's a great deal to say about this now. I have to hurry to start on my journey. May God guide me in His righteousness, and may He bring me safely to my destination. The words of your father extending best wishes to your learned person, and waiting for salvation at all times. Lesson of aggressive, greeting to all our comrades with a great love. Letter 309. With God's help, Berditchev. Let the hills bear greetings to my honored, beloved friend, the learned, distinguished, and illustrious Rebbe Ber, may he live, along with all his children, may they live. And to the learned of Abelin, may he live, along with all his children, may they live. I arrived here safely in Berditchev on Tuesday, Erev Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, the week of Torah, reading Torah. I plan, God willing, to set out from here for Ravil after the coming Shabbos, and onward from there, as we discussed. May God give me a successful trip, and may He accomplish the desires of our master, teacher, and rebbe. May He guide me on paths of righteousness for His name's sake. I am extremely busy and preoccupied with all that is involved in traveling, so it is impossible for me to write much at all. I am writing, though, to urge you, for God's sake, to carry out the promise along the lines of everything we talked about together. I have no doubt that you have already sent my son the sum that I received from him, and that you will send the rest when you receive his letter, in accordance with what is indicated in the notes bearing my signature that they gave him. God willing, when He brings me safely to Ravil, I will write you from there with God's help. In the meantime, be sure to do as I have asked. I need not tell you that you should try with all your might to speak with our beloved precious comrades, may they live, to get them to take pity on my family, and to immediately send them their generations, donations generous, probably. Send them their generous donations. Everything should be sent to my son, Rabbi Yitzchak, may he live. In addition to this, each one of them should prepare himself to donate another fine portion, as I will write you, God willing, from the place to which I am traveling. Perhaps God will be with us, and we will merit to accomplish the desire of our holy and awesome master, the teacher and rebbe of sainted memory, in accordance with God's will and the will of those who fear Him. May God finish for me, for all of us, and for all Israel, the knower of secrets and searcher of hearts, knows the enormous difficulty of all these journeys journeys of mine, and especially of this one, the like of which I have never experienced since the day I drew close to the Holy of Holies, our master, teacher, and rebbe of sainted memory, and especially after this tremendous uproar that has surrounded us. What can I say? What can I say? My soul is constantly in my hands in prayer. My heart is broken. My heart is broken and downcast within me. My eyes are lifted. My heart is broken and downcast within me. My eyes are lifted to God alone, to His abundant compassion and loving kindness which never runs out. My eyes look longingly and silently hope. My eyes look longingly and silently hope. My eyes look longingly and silently hope. I rely on and trust in the great power of the Elder of Elders, that God will never abandon me. He will help me and save me for the sake of His blessed name. May He grant me a safe journey, and may He bring me safely to Uman, close to the approaching month of Elul. May He give me success in my travels, so that I may complete everything in accordance with the will of the point of truth. The words of your true, eternal friend, praying for you, Nasan of Breslov. Greetings to all our comrades, with a great bold love, all of our comrades whom I did not mention because of my many cares and constraints of my time. You are all set firmly and engraved on my heart with a great love, and you all have my blessing. May God in His compassion grant you success in all your endeavors, so that you merit to really think about your ultimate purpose every day, so that you and your children for generations to come may enjoy good in this world and the next forever. I have absolute confidence in your generosity that you will certainly, on your own, quickly carry out all my words, as my friend Avram Doiv, may he live, will urge you to support me and aid me with all that you can and even more, and enable me to carry out the Rebbe's holy wishes for the good of our people for generations to come. Save us, God, and each person will be happy and rejoice over the share that he had in this. Their eyes, then each person save us, God, then each person will be happy and rejoice over the share that he had in this. Their eyes will see and their hearts rejoice. The words of your true, eternal friend, Nasan, the same. Peace, life, and all good to all our comrades in Medvedivka and its nearby villages, and in Kremenchuk and Krakow and their environs. God be with them. May they live and succeed in this world and the next. All the above words were meant for all of them. They are all beloved, etc. Surely they will take to heart these few but potent words of mine. Surely they will take to heart these few but potent words of mine, and God will save them. Bestow good, God, upon the good. Bestow good, God, upon the good. Let us be happy and rejoicing in salvation, thus in the same. With thanks to God, letter 3:10, with thanks to God, Thursday night. Erev Shabbos Balak, 5600 Brody. Warm greetings to my dear honored son, the learned Rabbi Yitzchak. May you live. Thus far has your abundant compassion helped me, and I arrived here in Brody last Tuesday late in the day. I arrived in Radville on Monday, and on Tuesday I received your letter by way of Reb Shaul Tuvia. God help me, and I crossed the border with a little suffering and waiting. Thank God, I did get across safely and with kindness. This was the Russian-Austrian border. While I was still there, I was informed that they were not permitting my attendant, Nachman of Tulchin, may his light shine, to cross. I was thus forced on that Tuesday to go across and arrive here alone. But in suffering, you gave me relief, because there at the border God sent my way a young man from our family whose father lives in Redville. I discovered who he was, and he joined up with me, came with me here to Brody, and found me good lodgings. Reb Nassan's father's family came from the Brody area. Everything that happens to me contains both suffering and great kindness. One end round and the other end pointed. Everything that happens to me contains both suffering and great kindness. One end round and the other end pointed. Look in the Kutei Halachas Beitzim 5, and you will understand my words. You can understand for yourself now the enormous pain that I had upon riding alone. With Reb Nachman left there as if a wall of iron suddenly sprung up between us. In addition, he had clothing that I needed. So I was pining away about all this from that Tuesday until Thursday near evening, when God helped me and Nachman arrived here safely and gave me new life. It is good to thank God for all the kindnesses, favors, for all the kindnesses, favors, and wonders, for all the kindnesses, favors, and wonders that He does with me constantly, all of them together, and for each one individually. Thank God many elders and important people have already come to see me. Most of the chassidim here have received me honorably, thank God, and they all know me from before. I am still a long way, though, from being able to raise any money. My hope is in God that He will not abandon me. After Nachman arrived, I informed the wealthy Rebbe Yaakov Heretz of my presence. Very shortly afterwards, he himself came and greeted me lovingly. He himself brought me your letters that you sent here, and I was really pleased. But my delight is mixed with pain over the many things that each person lacks, and especially over your letters, in which your cry reaches up to the very heavens. I do not know what to answer you right now, but you uplifted me when you mentioned that Kometz Aleph, like ABC, it is the way young children are taught beginners reading. That Kometz Aleph is the way young children are taught beginners reading. See also Likutim around 166. Kometz Aleph is encouraging, but you enlifted me when you mentioned that Kometz Aleph is encouraging you. For the truth is that you and all of us need to learn Kometz Aleph anew on every single lesson that the Rebbe revealed. Need to learn Kometz Aleph anew on every single lesson that the Rebbe revealed. Start again, literally from Kometz Aleph. Start again literally from Kometz Aleph in the lesson. The one who has compassion for them will lead them. On the theme of the whole world is full of His glory, printed in 2 places there. Look there carefully, literally as if for the first time. How I wrote this down with the utmost precision and care. The way that it came out in holiness and purity from the Rebbe's holy mouth. That even in the depths of hell, it is possible to come close to Him. The whole world is full of His glory. And consider again how the Rebbe cried out with his holy voice, saying, God is with you, near you, next to you. God is near you, next to you. God is with you, near you, next to you. God is with you, near you, next to you. God is with you, near you, next to you. God is with you, near you, next to you. Do not be afraid. Rely on my power. Never ever despair. Believe me, my dear son, these words were meant for you specifically, and you need to say that they were spoken primarily for you alone. For a person is obligated to say that the world was created for me. If you only knew and understood what I understood today from some new books that I found here, how the world is sunk and what it is sunk in, God have mercy. Now all the writers of today want to strengthen and to arouse people, but they do not have tools. What they call gitzaig, merchandise to display. But they do not have tools, what they call gitzaig. But they do not have tools, what they call gitzaig, merchandise to display. I cannot explain any more in this context. Your great desire forced me to write you these words of mine, despite the fact that I am terribly busy. Trust in God. He will not abandon you. Keep yourself happy and take control over your thoughts every time. Force disturbing thoughts and bad, extraneous thinking from your mind. Concerning those events which happen to you of their own accord, do not consider them at all. Concerning those events which happen to you of their own accord, do not consider them at all. Quick, run for your life. Do not look back. Thank God we have someone to lean on. Thank God. The power of the elder of elders of holiness is more than enough. Shreinu, how fortunate are we? How fortunate we are. How good is our lot. And in such a generation we merited to know about a light such as this. The words of your Father praying for you. Just fortify yourself and be strong, and God will always help you. Noson of Breslov. Send greetings to my friend of Naphtali. May his light shine, and tell him that through God's kindness I have arrived in Brody. Thank God. As regards the garment for my son, may he live. It is impossible for me to bring it from here. I will certainly get him the garment that he needs with God's help. Just let God help him to save him from soiled garments. And may he merit to don the garment of the sages. Letter 3:11. With thanks to God. Thursday night, Pashas Bullock, 5600 Brody, with warm greetings to my honored dear friend, whom I love as myself, the learned and distinguished of Avram Doiv. May he live along with all his children. May he live, and to my learned friend of Abel. May he live along with all his children. May they live. Praise to the living God. I arrived here in Brody on Tuesday of this week, and God willing, after this coming Shabbos, I will turn my steps toward Lemberg. My expenses are very high, and as it appears, I hope to God that I will be able to engage in our holy work. My expenses are very high, and as it appears, I hope to God that I will be able to engage in our holy work. May God finish for us. For the present, be sure to pay my son the amount. For the present, be sure to pay my son the amount of the note that you gave him. The benefactor with whom the documentation was written was already here with me, and he promised to pay off the whole amount for me. My son has already paid off the sum, but the interest is even greater. So you should pay this off immediately without delaying even one day. I do not want to go on about this. My request, rather, is that you make a determined effort to have all our precious comrades give me some really significant help, both by providing for my home, which I left bare, God have mercy, and by furnishing support for this holy work. I cannot go on about this right now because I'm terribly busy, and this traveling and wandering of mine is more than I have strength for. May God have compassion and strengthen me in my weakness, and may He give power to the helpless. I have no one to lean on but our Father in heaven. May He save us in His compassion, and with the power of the elder of holiness upon whom we lean. Thank God we have someone to lean on. His kindness to us has been abundant, and the truth of God is forever. Thus, in a breast of warm greetings to all our comrades, and particularly to my venerable friend, the distinguished God-fearing Rebbe there. May his light shine, and to all his precious offspring may they live. And that all that I said above was meant for them too. They will all excuse me for not mentioning them by name. I just do not have the strength nor the time. I trust in their goodness, and I am sure that they will zealously carry out my words. May God recompense them many times over with blessing, peace, and life. Nelson. Nachman says, loving greetings to all of you. I request that you send me a letter with news of how all of you are doing. Send everything, the money and the letters, to my son. May he live in Tuchin. From there, it will get to me in whatever place God in His kindness brings me. Also, extend greetings to my distinguished friend Rebbe Ephraim. May his light shine in Kremachug, and to all our comrades there. My beloved Rebbe Ephraim, with light shine. You can understand for yourself how much you now need to work with all your strength on my behalf and on behalf of our holy work, which affects the entire community. May God finish for me. I am too busy to write much. Send your short letter to my son. Send your short letter too to my son, and may he live, and may God give you success of every kind. Succeed and ride on behalf of truth. Succeed and ride on behalf of truth. We should really be happy. Last Shabbos, Pashas Chukas, we rejoiced with the number of guests from Kremenchug and Reveal in the inn where we are staying. They all danced with Reb Nachman amidst great love and joy. They all danced with Reb Nachman amidst great love and joy, and they joyfully cried out, their fathers trusted in you. They trusted and you saved them. They screamed to you and were rescued. Our Master, great and very powerful. Our Master. Our fathers trusted in you. They trusted in you, and you saved them. They screamed to you and were rescued. Our Master, great and very powerful. Afterwards, they were they were all grateful to us for this. Afterwards, they were all grateful to us for this. Afterwards, they were all grateful to us for this. May God always bring us to joy with His salvation. Letter 312. With thanks to God, Thursday, Pinchas, 5600 Lemberg, the usual greetings to my dear son and his family. Here for your perusal. Here for your perusal is the letter that I wrote to all of you. What can I add? Fortify and strengthen yourself constantly, my son, and happiness and joy. God's kindness to us has been great, that we merited to know about such a holy, awesome light. In these large cities, one sees even more of the suffering, bitterness, and grief and sighing of this world, which has become just unbearable. Were it not for the salt, it would be impossible to endure the bitterness. God willing, in the coming days, maybe I will merit to start our business, quote-unquote business, the way I hope to. With God's help, then I will have a little more clarity of mind, and I will report to you even more of God's salvation. The words of your Father, hoping to see you in life, peace, and happiness. Thus in the same greetings to all our comrades with great love. Letter 313. Publisher's note: Reb Nosson was received very warmly in Brody by the followers of the Hasidic movement, who treasured every word he spoke. He was accompanied many miles of his return journey to the Ukraine by those who were reluctant to see him to leave. The reader will notice in these letters a veiled reference to the contrast between the Hasidim in the Lvov area and the Ukrainian Hasidim who tried to uproot the rest of the Hasidim. See through Fire and Water, Part 8, Chapter 43, for details of Reb Nosson's trip to the Brody, Lemberg area. With God's help, Thursday, Pinchas 5600 Lemberg. Warm greetings to my distinguished friend, Reb Avrom Ber, may he live, and to my learned friend, Reb Abla, may he live, along with all their children, may they live. I already wrote to you from Brody. Now, last Tuesday I arrived here. My expenses are very high, and the way it looks, I will be able to engage in our business, quote-unquote business here. Only for this we need a great deal of money. For God's sake, do as you agreed immediately and send the money to my son. May he live in accordance with the notes that you gave him. Do not delay. Rouse and encourage all our comrades to send money immediately, either for the quote unquote business or for living expenses. As you promised me, I have no time to go on. Thank God I was received quite honorably in Brody, and I spoke about some of the teachings of a master, teacher, and rebbe of sainted memory with the Hasidim here. They valued them very much. A number of them said explicitly that I really inspired their souls, which were hungry for words such as these, which are so hard to find. But I did not get any money there at all. I cannot raise money here either. Really, fortify yourselves, my brothers, to study the Rebbe's books every day. Look into them carefully and constantly search to find ways of rescuing your souls from the miry pit of the distractions and vanities of this world. From the miry pit of the distractions and vanities of this world. Here and in the surrounding areas, one really sees the bitterness of the world and how it is literally like an angry sea that keeps raging more and more. Many people have been swept away, body and soul. God save us. Very few have escaped and are still just about breathing. And these few are only the result of God's miraculous kindnesses through the tzaddik who is the foundation of the world and the eternal covenant of salt, without whom it is said, were it not for the salt, the world could not endure the bitterness. Ashreinu, how fortunate we are to have merited to know about Him and to draw near to Him, or at least not to oppose the source of our life, our vitality, our hope and our salvation in this world and the next forever. The source of our life, our vitality, our hope, and our salvation in this world and the next forever. The words of your true eternal friend, looking forward to seeing you enjoy. Nasan abreast of greetings to all our comrades with a great love, each one of them according to his own high level. These words are meant for all of you. Have pity and compassion on me and on this holy project. Come to my aid with all your might. Help me and assist me time after time with really meaningful support. Rejoice and be happy over the shared inhabitants forever. I need not say any more to generous hearts like yourselves, and the post is in a hurry. May God give you material and spiritual success. May your charity stand forever, and may you have ascendancy and honor. Amen. Nasan the same. Greetings and abundant salvation to our comrades in your vicinity and in Krakow, Kremenchug, and their environs. These words were meant for all of you. The more one gives, the more heaven gives one blessing. The more one gives, the more heaven gives one. The more one gives, the more heaven gives one blessing. Gives one blessing, life, and the treasure of fear of heaven. The more one gives, the more heaven gives one blessing, life, and the treasure of fear of heaven. Lesson 314, publisher's note. In this letter we see that Nasan mentioned his quote-unquote business, but he does not actually mention printing the books. In fact, the reader will rarely see this in any of Rebbe Nasan's letters. The reason was that at the exhortation of the leaders of the Haskalah Enlightenment movement, the Tsar imposed a ban on the printing of Hasidic works. Rav Nasan was afraid that his opponents might hear of his printing and inform the government against him. Though he was printing in a different country and therefore not violating the law, his opponents could have had the merchandise seized by customs, quote-unquote merchandise seized by customs and or the censors. Street through fire and water, chapters 32, 43, 44. Thus, for the remaining years, Rav Nachman Tochino is referred to several times as Rav Nachman Soiche, businessman, and the printing is referred to as our business. With thanks to God, Tuesday, Devarim 5600, greetings to my honored, dear and beloved son, my heart's delight, the learned and illustrious Rabbi Yitzchak may live. On Tuesday of the last week, Parshas Masai, I sent you a letter informing you that I had traveled to the town adjacent to here. Shortly thereafter, on Wednesday evening, I returned here to Lvov, having accomplished absolutely nothing with regard to our business. But without a doubt, it was due to the hand of God that I was there in the place of our roots, where our ancestors grew up. I also spoke with a number of people there, and for this too, the traveling exhaustion and expense are well worthwhile. Though I understand this a little, I believe it much more. How many kindnesses and astounding wonders in connection with our work have I seen in the course of my journey? For even one of them, or to say even one of the teachings that I have talked about through all of my travels, for even one of them, or to say even one of the teachings that I've talked about through all of my travels, even just to one person, it would certainly have been worth all this exhausting traveling, which is so terribly, so unimaginably difficult for me, as well as all the expense and upset that it involved. Nonetheless, I was not comfortable or at peace, because up until now, I thought that, God forbid, I will be returning home empty-handed and with nothing accomplished insofar as our business is concerned. God forbid, I had already fortified myself that even if it should turn out this way, I would not be discouraged in the least. But thank God I am strong in the belief, and through God's kindness, I even know a little that without a doubt I needed to be here. For I am strong in the belief, for thank God I am strong in the belief, and through God's kindness, I even know a little that without a doubt I needed to be here. But how great are God's deeds! His thoughts are very deep. How wondrous are His kindnesses, that He opened my mind's eye to know and to believe in the awesome, amazing greatness, in the awesome. He opened my mind's eye to know and to believe in the awesome, amazing greatness of the true tzaddik, so that I would not lose hope of God's compassion. For even while the gates were shut tightly on every side and in every corner, so that one might mistakenly have thought that there was no hope, God forbid, I nonetheless believe that there was still plenty of hope. For God's capacity to send relief and deliverance is very great indeed, and His power of salvation is abundant. Then last Friday the man returned home. He is from here, but was traveling. Through God's wonders, I met with him today and have received a formal written commitment to do our work. I have not yet given him even a single proof of small coin, and only when he starts the work with God's kindness in the near future will Reb Chaim, may his light shine, give him some small sum. I cannot possibly explain the terms of the agreement to you in this context. Even the little that I have written to you about this should be kept secret, and you should only reveal it to a small number of people in strict confidence. God willing, when we get together with God's help, you will hear about God's wonders and enormous kindness. Salvation is in God's hand, and may the matter be completed swiftly and smoothly. May our eyes see and our hearts rejoice. May our eyes see and our hearts rejoice. I will hope in God's kindness constantly until He quickly shows us His kindness and salvation. I am present until He quickly shows us His kindness and salvation. I am presently preparing to travel to Brody for my journey home, and I am extremely busy. I will write you again from there with a letter with a little more detail. May God give me a safe journey. Up to this point, I wrote in Lvov. On Wednesday late afternoon, I arrived safely here in Brody, and today, Thursday, Torah reading Devarim, late afternoon, I received a letter of Tuesday. When I first started to read it, I was very pleased, but my pleasure quickly turned into distress and pain when I saw in your letter news of the bitter distress of the the Cantonist decree to forcibly induct young Jewish children of age 12 into the Russian army for a period of 25 years. Woe for our sufferings. Oh, my son, you have crushed me. My heart is broken inside me from many sides. It is now close to Tisha B'Av, but I nonetheless prevailed to receive Shabbos with joy. But this is what we must do. Then I heard less than good news like this, suffering which affects individuals and the community as a whole. God save us. What can we say? God is righteous and we have done evil. We have certainly done evil and sinned. We have nothing to rely on but His compassion and abundant kindness which the tzaddikim who dwell in the dust evoke. With this I encourage myself even now. What can I give back to God for all the kindness He has done for me, that I myself merited and caused others to merit, not to oppose the one who invokes compassion and kindness in these generations amidst this sweep of grief and suffering. About Him it is said, were it not for the salt, the world would be unable to endure the bitterness. We trust in His power and in the power of all the true tzaddikim that God will surely not abandon us, God forbid. Rather, He will take us out of all our sufferings and will quickly save us for the sake of His blessed name. I'm sending you letters for Breslov, and I have informed them fully about everything that I can. I do not have time to go on any longer. Peace, life, and all good. Nelson of Breslov, greetings to my learned friend, the Rav. May his light shine. How terribly pained I was to hear about your anguish. May God send salvation quickly. I hope to God that you will be rescued with God's help and that everything will turn into good. Just really fortify yourself determinedly to pray to God about all this and to use it to draw closer to Him. For you already know very well that everything that happens to a person all the days of his life is all for his good, in order to remind him to return to God and to begin anew. From now on, at least, in every way that he can. The words of your true friend waiting for your salvation and the salvation of all Israel. And thus in the same, my beloved son, please report to me any salvation that you can. Also send me regards individually from my sons May they live as they have not been mentioned explicitly in previous letters. Let me know about our Kloy synagogue in Uman as well, whether it has been opened yet, and if so, when. When I left there, it was sealed. Thank God, I trust that it has certainly been opened already. Nonetheless, I want you to tell me explicitly, just for the satisfaction of hearing. Nachman, nachman, meuman, nanach, nachman, nachman, meuman. Letter 315 with God's help Monday. bezH 5600 Brody, my dear son, I wrote here on Wednesday and on Friday. I sent long letters to you and to Breslov. God willing, tomorrow on Wednesday, when I cross the border into Redville with God's kindness, I will write you again with God's help. The words of your father waiting to see you and Joe. God helps me constantly with awesome acts of salvation and great kindnesses. And as I will relate to you with God's help, but I know that I am not fulfilling my obligations to Him at all, and this causes all pain and distress. I encourage myself, though, with what I mentioned in my letters on the subject of Azamro, where I will sing, were you to put this lesson into practice the way I do, you would already be a more righteous Jew than I am. Were you to put this lesson into practice the way I do, you would already be a more righteous Jew than I am. Still, I am also happy with my lot. Thank God, I cannot go on any longer. Thus in the Breslov. Send warm greetings to all of them. Letters 316 with thanks to God. Thursday, bezH 5600 Brazil. Warm greetings to my dear, beloved son, learned and illustrious Rabbi Yitzchak, may he live. You are receiving enclosed here a letter for Chirin, in which I relate a little about my journey. The words of truth that are said there are also meant for you, as well as for all our comrades in your community, in Breslov, and in your vicinity. May God allow us to fulfill these words of the Rebbe's. It would certainly be appropriate for you to copy the letter and send it to Breslov too. Though the original you should send to Chirin. Just be extremely careful and caution those in Breslov not to publicize the matter. All our comrades certainly ought to read it though. Maybe there will be one person who will remind himself to follow these holy pathways. For all the Rebbe's holy words were meant to be practiced. All the letters that I write to Breslov and other places are in front of you, and they are meant for you too. It is therefore impossible for me to go on and to repeat things again, as I am extremely busy. The words of your father, waiting for salvation and praying for you. Nachman of Breslov. Greetings to all our comrades with a great love. Nanach, nachma, nachman, meuman.